In this video, I will show you how to fully remove and disassemble the upper tension assembly on this late model Singer 99. Let's get started. So there are two ways to remove the tension assembly from the machine. You can remove the whole assembly all at once, or you can start to take it off piece by piece. And I think that's how we'll do it today, just so you can see all the different parts and understand what they are as we're taking them off. And then you'll get a good look at this barrel back in the back that we're going to remove last. So this is just a numbered tension dial. It looks like some of the other numbered tension dials you might see on a Singer, but they're not all the same. And the one that's on the 99, the thread take-up spring right here, is a little bit different than what you would see on, say, a Featherweight or a 301. So to start removal of the tension assembly, the first thing that we are going to want to do is to turn our tension dial to the setting that's going to give you the least amount of tension. In this case, this tension assembly is a little messed up, so it's not going to stop at 0 for me, but you should turn it to 0, and if it stops at 0, that's what you want. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to press your numbered dial in and hold it there with your fingers, and you're just going to take this thumb nut and turn it counterclockwise until it comes off the end of this stud right here. And then I'll show you this thumb nut. This is the front. The shiny chrome part here is the front. And on the back, you should see a little pin sticking out. That little pin rests in any one of these holes when the whole assembly is together. And we'll talk about that when we put it all back together on the machine in another video. So remove the thumb nut, and then the numbered dial should just slide right off the end of the stud. We'll set that aside. Now you should find a little stop washer next, and it will come off the stud. You'll see how it's made though. It has this little strip of metal across the center that fits inside the stud right here, and it should have a little finger on it as well. This finger on this stop washer is bent. It's sticking forward here. When it comes off the machine, it's sort of pointing at you. You should find one like that, or yours might be straight. Either way, it's fine. Go ahead and take that off next. Then we can pull off the tension spring. Some people call this the beehive spring, and I think it's interesting because people will call the spring back here the tension spring. This is the thread take-up spring. This is actually the tension spring. So it looks like a little beehive. You can set that aside. And then we can take off the tension indicator. And that's just the little metal part that has our minus and plus signs on it that tells us when we turn the dial, are we turning it to add tension or to remove tension. So that can come off. Then you should have 2 tension discs come off. And I haven't taken these off yet. This is the first time. So let's check them out. Ooh boy. They mostly just look dirty. I think we'll be able to polish these up and they'll be nice and smooth when we're done. But you'll notice there's 2 discs. They look like little plates that you could stack, but they actually go on the assembly with the cupped sides apart, facing away from each other. So just like that, we can set these aside. Finally, you should be able to pull off the thread take-up spring. And if it doesn't pull off, don't pull on it. Just go ahead and leave it on the machine and it will come off with this barrel here, which you can barely see. We're going to get a better look at it, but you can get it out once you get the barrel out. It's just, if you pull on it and it's stuck in there, you risk stretching it out. But here's our thread take-up spring. This one looks like it's in good shape. It's just really dirty. And what I like to do when I first take the springs off is I turn it around and I check for the little tail that's in the back side of the spring. That's important for how this machine is going to function as far as tension. We need this little tail to be there. So if you don't have one, that means you need to replace this spring. So we'll set that aside. Now we can talk about removing this barrel, and I'm going to give you a better look at it. So I've changed the view of the machine for you, and you can see there's a barrel right here on this side. It sticks out. It should be silver, and then we can see part of it here. So this part that we're getting ready to take out goes all the way through the body of the machine. You may have a little screw back here. You should. We're not going to touch that yet because it's not sitting high enough where it's going to catch on the body of the machine where we couldn't just push this barrel out the front. So we'll take that screw out later. The screw we want to remove is on the other side here. The reason why this barrel is here is when the spring is in the machine, we have it turned so that this long tail here on the spring, it's pressed up against this cutout in the barrel. There's another cutout down here. And the idea is when it's all pressed together, the spring cannot go any farther than this lower cutout or any farther than this higher cutout. And that has to do with the thread take-up system. And we'll watch that when we put this all back together and make sure that we have this barrel positioned properly within the body of the machine. But I'll take this back off and let's look at the screw we need to get to. So if you can see right here, there is a screw. It's a set screw and it's holding this barrel in place. The proper name for this barrel, at least that I have seen in the adjuster's manuals for the 99s, it's called the thread take-up spring regulator, which makes sense because it's regulating how far the spring can travel. But anyway, we want to loosen this screw and it is left to loosen it. You might want to work with a shorter screwdriver in this area. You can take it all the way out if you want, or you can just loosen it several turns. I'm going to take it all the way out. So here is my set screw. Now I should be able to, this one is oiled up really well, but I should be able to put my finger on the back side of the barrel inside the nose and just push this whole assembly out of the front of the machine. And there we have, you can see why people call it a barrel. It looks like a barrel. We can get the machine out of the way now. So in the barrel, we can see that we still have the tension stud here, and we should be able to just tap out the tension pin now. This one is a little stuck. I'm going to see if I can push it out. I have this little tool my husband gave me, and I just pushed it in. A toothpick would work, anything like that, but we've pushed it out. Here's the tension pin. We can set this aside. And now the way we're going to get the stud out of this barrel so we can clean up all these parts is by removing this screw that you see right here. And it is another screw that is left to loosen. And I wouldn't ever try to remove this screw before you got the barrel out of the machine. It's hard to get the right angle to do that. And it's just left to loosen. And you can go ahead and remove it all the way. This one's pretty cruddy. There we go. Just a short little screw. Then we should be able to sort of twist and pull. And now we've taken the tension stud out of the thread take-up spring regulator. So we have the whole tension assembly apart. We have the regulator and the tension stud and the little screw that sets the tension stud inside the regulator. We don't want to forget the set screw that we took out of the side of the nose. That's what holds the barrel in place. We have the thread take-up spring, the tension pin or the tension spring, 2 tension discs, our indicator with the plus and minus, our tension spring or the beehive spring, our stop washer with the little finger, our numbered dial that tells us what tension setting we are at, and the thumb nut that goes on the front of the tension assembly. That's it. That's all the parts to the tension on this Singer 99. So we can bag these up and set them aside for cleaning later. So there you go. That is how you remove the tension assembly from your Singer 99. When we come back, we will be removing our slide plates here, our needle plates, the feed gogs. We're going to start working in the bottom half of the machine, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I have a feeling. So I look forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again really soon. Bye.